7:42 p.m. Two cameras are working, the ceiling-mounted security cam angled toward table 12, and a phone camera held waist-high by a teenager in a blue hoodie at table 9. Ambient audio, clinking cutlery, the sizzle from the open kitchen, the soft hiss of the espresso wand. A Friday night at Harbor and Time, a mid-price bistro bordering San Francisco's financial district and the neon edge of Chinatown. A well-dressed man in a navy suit at table 12 leans back. He taps a heavy black card against a water glass. His colleagues watch. Their jackets are on the backs of their chairs. Their laughter is louder than the music. "Waitress," he says, clear enough to register on 2 microphones. "I'll give you $100,000 if you serve me in Chinese." Nia, 27, hair in a neat bun, navy apron, pen behind her ear. She stands with her order pad and a tray. According to the later audio, there is a heartbeat of silence before she answers. Witnesses report the room goes still in concentric circles. Table 11 quiets. The bartender looks up. Even the pass light reflects off a steel ladle like a held breath. From the bar, the manager Marco glances over. He doesn't approach. He folds a bar towel. "Pardon?" Nia says evenly. Her voice is steady. The teenager's lens tightens. The edge of Nia's apron fills the bottom of the frame. The man smiles with the performative ease of someone used to rooms, turning toward him. "100 grand, he says. "Serve me in Chinese for the rest of tonight. Drinks, entrees, everything. Impress me. We'll make it fun." He lifts his glass an inch, like a toast to himself. His colleagues grin in what witnesses later describe as that nervous way, like they aren't sure if it's a joke. A woman at table 12, a colleague, silver bangle, tablet half out of a bag, says quickly, "Peter." She presses his sleeve. He laughs her off. According to several diners interviewed after the incident, Nia doesn't change expression. She nods once. The kitchen bell dings behind her. "Nia, are you asking for service conducted in Mandarin Chinese?" He smirks. "Yes, that. Make it amazing. Make me a believer." The teenager's camera tilts up. The security camera's timestamp advances. Nia's pen moves across the order pad. Her hand is steady. The pen clicks closed. When she speaks again, the language shifts. Nia, in Mandarin. "Good evening. What would you like to drink? We can recommend a jasmine iced tea or perhaps an oolong-infused tonic. Our specials are listed here. May I explain?" Her tones are clean. The syllables land with practiced clarity. There is no movie flourish, only a change in air pressure across the dining room. Whispering starts, soft and disbelieving. Someone at table 5 sits up, a napkin half on his lap. Peter's smile falters. The woman in the silver bangle watches Nia's mouth with sudden attention. Peter, in English, slow. "Okay." He spares a glance for the colleagues. "Okay." Nia continues in Mandarin, according to a later source translation. "Tonight, our chef features a ginger scallion steamed fish and hand-cut noodles with shiitake and garlic oil. The kitchen can do less spice or more, depending on your preference. Would you like still or sparkling water?" The phone camera catches Nia's hand hovering above water glasses, catching the overhead light. In the background, a cook calls, "Pick up!" The bartender reaches for a rocks glass, then stops, listening. No one laughs. She takes their drinks orders in Mandarin, waits for nods, repeats each back for confirmation, then pivots. The pin's click is the only sharp sound. This is where the teenager's video ends for the first clip. He lowers the phone, eyes wide. Voiceover later added in the teenager's upload, not part of the event, but context. "My mom told me to always film the start." The disclaimer appears only on the screen and in Nia's social post several days later. Like and subscribe for more stories that challenge prejudice and celebrate courage. Part 2. The service documented. 7:49 p.m. Bar POS terminal shows one SPKLNG WTR comped and one YLNG PNE TNG, rung up by server code NC. According to internal timestamp tickets, Nia sends the drinks order before crossing to the kitchen. Witnesses at the bar describe Marco's jaw set. He doesn't call her over. He stares past her, toward table 12, like a man trying to calculate fire risk. Nia delivers a sparkling water to Peter, sets it gently on a coaster. The sound is audible on the security footage as a quiet tap. She sets the peony tonic beside the woman in the silver bangle and says, again in Mandarin, "Please enjoy. Do you have any dietary restrictions I should note?" Peter, English. "So you know phrases. Cute." He glances around. "I said serve me, the whole night." Nia, Mandarin. "Understood. Would you like to hear the wine list in Mandarin or English?" He lifts the menu like a shield. "Mandarin," he says. He looks at his colleagues, performing an expectation. She nods. According to diners at table 11, she proceeds to explain the white and red options in Mandarin. She matches names, Sauvignon Blanc to its Chinese rendering, Bordeaux to Boer Duo. She describes body, acidity, and pairing. She doesn't dramatize. She is careful and unadorned. One of Peter's colleagues laughs, then stops when Nia glances up. In the phone video recorded by a woman at table 7, that colleague covers his mouth, looks down, then says softly, barely heard, "Man." Peter points. He chooses. Nia repeats his selection in Mandarin, then in English, for the record, in case of charge dispute. This, according to the manager's later statement, is standard protocol when a guest insists on a different service language. Back at the bar, Marco exhales. He wipes the same spot twice. The bartender, a woman with a septum ring, whispers, "She's good." Marco replies, "Don't get involved. It's not an order, it's a wish." In the kitchen, Chef Lily, hair in a tight knot, nods when Nia returns. "What's the temperature on the steak?" she asks. Nia, medium rare. Chef, and the fish? Nia, steamed, with ginger scallion. She calls the order in Mandarin for table 12, then repeats in English for the line, holding up 2 fingers for timing. A cook grins, elbowing another cook. Finally, someone on the floor who can talk to Lily in her mom's tongue. He jokes. Lily smirks without looking up. "My mom has 10 tongues," she says. The room laughs, diffusing the charge. On the floor, service continues. Nia keeps her posture easy. She serves 2 tourists at table 3 in French. "Vous voulez le poisson entier? C'est pour deux." The woman's face lights up. She nods, says merci. The boy in the hoodie is filming again. On his second video upload, the caption reads, "She doesn't miss." A couple at table 6 signs to each other about the specials. Nia slows, then taps the side of her wrist to get their attention. In clean American Sign Language, she signs, "Hi, I'm Nia. I can bring a visual menu. Do you want me to sign the specials?" The man and woman brighten. The man signs back, "Yes, thank you." She nods. She signs the options, fish, noodles, spice levels. This, according to the couple's later post on their advocacy page, is the moment the restaurant changed for them. At table 12, Peter watches her from across the room. His jaw twitches once. He swipes at his phone, then sets it face down. "Don't worry," says the colleague in the silver bangle, soft enough that the lapel mic clipped under her jacket, unknown to her, doesn't catch it. The phone camera at table 7 does. "You can still be kind about it." He hears her. He straightens. He looks at the teenager filming. He lifts his chin. Part 3, Escalation with a Smile, 8:13 p.m. The wine arrives. According to the pour-ounce log, it's a 2018 Loire Sauvignon. Nia presents the bottle label to Peter, reads it aloud in Mandarin, then in English, the way she would for any guest who wants to feel certain. He nods, overcompensating. Peter, English. "Okay, you're a parlor trick, but a good one." He grins, expecting laughter. The laughter doesn't come. Nia, Mandarin. "I'll bring your starters now." He leans forward. "No," he says. "Ask the chef in Chinese to make them exactly how I want. No shortcuts." Nia looks at him. The pause is 3 seconds long. It's not fear, it's measurement. According to a server at table 1, the room's temperature feels like it drops a degree. Nia's pen taps the pad. "How would you like them?" she asks in English, to ensure specificity. He relishes the pivot back to his preferred language. Peter. "Shrimp dumplings, less ginger, extra chive, and make the sauce not sweet. I hate sweet." He smiles. "Do it in Chinese." She nods once. In Mandarin, she turns toward the kitchen, speaks into the pass. "Chef Lily, table 12 would like shrimp dumplings with less ginger, more chives, and a savory dipping sauce. No sweetness." Lily replies in Mandarin without looking up. "No problem." She rings it correctly. Item modifiers clicked in, extraneous sugar removed. POS screen captures are later printed by management in a file labeled Incident 10.21. The modifiers read, "Less gin, extra CHV, sauce sav." On her way back from the kitchen, Nia stops at a table where a woman in a hijab points to the menu, uncertain. Nia leans in and switches to Arabic. "Do you prefer fish or meat? We can make the greens without butter." The woman smiles, relieved, and answers in Arabic. Nia nods, notes the order, says "welcome," and steps away. A man at the next table says to his companion, "I thought she was just code switching in Mandarin." His companion whispers, "Apparently not." At table 12, Peter drums his fingers. "So you learned phrases for tips," he says when she returns. "You memorize scripts." His tone is the crystalline kind people mistake for charm. Nia, Mandarin. "I studied." She doesn't elaborate. She doesn't apologize. He smirks. "Where?" She gestures toward the crowded room. "Here," then adds in English so there's no confusion, "and elsewhere, over time." When the dumplings arrive, Lily watches from the pass. The dumplings are delicate crescents, translucent. Nia sets them down and, in Mandarin, explains the house-made soy reduction. She places a small dish, a line of chopped chives bright against ceramic. Peter lifts a dumpling with his chopsticks. He dips it, he eats, he chews slowly. He nods once, his face smoothing into an expression no one in the room can quite decipher. The colleague in the silver bangle says, in English evenly, "Good?" He swallows. He looks up at Nia. "Let's see if you can do the rest," he says. His voice is lower. The performance shifts into stubbornness. According to a busser, the air clears a little when Nia steps away. "Like the spell broke for a second," he says later, and then started again. Part 4. The room turns. 8:35 p.m. Phones at 3 tables are lifted. The boy in the hoodie's first video is already uploaded. His caption reads, "He bet 100K she couldn't speak Chinese." Within 9 minutes, it has 12,000 views. Nia's service becomes a vector. She moves through languages in arcs, not leaps. At table 3, French again, "Ça vous plaît?" At table 8, Spanish to a couple visiting from Oaxaca. "Sin cilantro? Claro, entiendo." At table 6, ASL, a quick check-in. "Everything okay? Need water?" The man signs, "Perfect." The bartender calls to Nia, "Can you ask the delivery guy to wait 2 minutes? He's early." Nia steps to the door, opens it, and calls in Cantonese to a man balancing a crate of bok choy. "2 more minutes. Wait, please." He smiles in recognition and nods. Marco watches this exchange. He doesn't interfere. Peter's jaw shifts. He keeps his phone face down, but, according to the reflective edge of his wine glass caught on the security cam, the screen lights up with messages. He tilts the glass. He adjusts his tie. The colleague, in the silver bangle, types on her tablet. She looks up and says, in English to Nia, "Thank you." Her thank you is the crisp gratitude of someone who knows she's witnessing labor done, not a trick performed. Nia nods. She turns to Peter in Mandarin. "Would you like the fish first or the steak?" Peter. "Both at the same time," he says in English. "Let's stress the kitchen." She takes this down, rings it correctly with fire all note. The kitchen responds with a chorus of heard. Lily's eyes crease at the corners. "They want to see if we can dance," she says. A cook answers, "We dance." At table 11, a journalist in a denim jacket, who will later identify himself in a byline as reporter on Deadline, scribbles notes. He watches Peter, he watches Nia, he watches Marco, he writes, "Power belongs to who thinks they can define service." He underlines it twice. The entrees arrive together. Plates are laid with the precision of a practice floor, the fish centered, the steak sliced against the grain. Nia, in Mandarin, describes the sauces. She waits for acknowledgement, then steps back, hands clasped neatly at her apron's knot. Peter cuts, chews, and swallows. He makes no comment on the food. Instead, he says loudly, in English, for the recording phones, "Are you going to go through the whole night doing this?" Nia looks at the phones as if noticing them. "I will serve you," she says, in Mandarin, then in English for the room. "And I expect you to keep your word." There is a small inhalation from the bar. The boy in the hoodie whispers, on his third video, "She said it." Part 5. The receipt. 9:12 p.m. Checks begin to close. Marco knows the math of Fridays, the bell curve of seatings, the peak at 8:15, the drift down. He knows the math of tips and wages and rent. He knows the math of risk. At table 12, dessert menus sit unopened. Nia approaches with a small leather billfold. According to the audio, she places it on the table with gentle precision. She stays standing. Nia, in Mandarin, "Would you like the check split?" She pauses. Then in English, "There is one more item." Peter blinks. "What?" he says, still almost smiling. She takes a pen from behind her ear and slides a blank receipt printout onto a small server's clipboard. She writes in clear block letters, "Verbal offer, $100,000 to provide service in Chinese this evening. Offer accepted. Service performed in Mandarin as requested." She turns the clipboard toward him. She places her fingertip near the line where she has written, "Signature." Peter laughs once. "You're serious." Nia, "You made an offer," she says. "I fulfilled it?" His colleagues look at one another. The woman with the silver bangle speaks first. "Peter," she says, "you said it. We all heard it." Her tone is not friendly. It is tired of theater. He squints at Nia. He taps the pen with 2 fingers. He says, "That's not a contract." Nia answers in English, so there is no confusion. "It can be," she says, "if you intended it, and I relied on it." At table 7, a man mutters, "She's quoting Contracts 1, to his friend. His friend whispers, "I think she is." Later, in a blog post, that man will identify himself as a 1L law student. He will write, "Unilateral contracts are real. Ask my midterm." Peter sets his jaw. "It was a joke," he says. "I was being generous." Nia, "Then you can be generous." she says quietly. She gestures to the receipt. Or you can be precise. She doesn't threaten. She doesn't raise her voice. She does not break eye contact. He lifts the pen, hesitates. He signs the restaurant copy for the meal. For the handwritten note, he draws a scribble that might be a P. He pushes the clipboard away. I'll wire, he says. Send an invoice. He stands, chair scraping. Let's go, he tells his colleagues. He doesn't wait to see if they rise. Nia collects the check presenter, the pen, and the scribbled promise. She doesn't smile. According to several witnesses, she nods once to the colleague in the silver bangle. The woman nods back. In the back station, Nia takes out her phone and photographs the handwritten note beside the table's itemized receipt. The flash doesn't fire. The image is crisp. She sends it to her email with the subject line, offer. On his way out, Peter passes the boy in the hoodie. For a second, their eyes meet. The boy taps his phone screen. The frame freezes on Peter's face. The upload begins. Part 6, The Echo. Next morning, 9:03 a.m., social analytics show 2 videos trending. She did it and he ran. Anonymous accounts pull stills of Nia's face, of her hand hovering above the receipt, of the note with the slanted letters of the word offer. According to internal texts later shared by an employee, Marco messages the owner at 7:12 a.m. We're going viral, not sure which way it goes. The owner replies at 7:15. No statements. Don't fuel it. Marco texts back. She did everything right. No response is recorded. Messages flood Nia's phone. A cousin in Chicago texts a crying emoji, then a heart. A classmate from community college texts, "Girl, the tones, I told them." Lily, who does not usually text staff off shift, sends one message. Proud. Nia replies with a folded hands emoji. She reads each message twice. She keeps her phone face down in the dish rack as she ties her apron at 10:52 a.m. At 11:05, a reporter calls the restaurant. The host, voice tightened with new tension, says, "We're not taking media calls." Another reporter leaves a message for Nia Carter, mispronouncing her last name. A third reporter DMs the restaurant's Instagram. The bartender, on break, reads it and says, to no one, "It's Carter." At 12:12 p.m., an email arrives at the public-facing restaurant inbox with the subject, "Clarify what happened." It's from an address ending in @langcap.com. The body reads, "Our client wants to clarify that his comments were in jest and not intended as a binding financial commitment." There is a signature block. The name is Peter Lang's PR agent. The email is forwarded to the owner. The owner marks it unread. At 2:41 p.m., a DM arrives for Nia. It's from a legal clinic that hosts a weekly drop-in at a library in the Mission. The message reads, "We saw the video. If you'd like advice, we can help." A phone number is included. At 4:03 p.m., a new clip goes up. A repost of the teenagers' videos, stitched with captions. It includes a translation of Nia's Mandarin, accurate, and the receipt note, sharp. It ends with text, "Pay black women what you promise." The comment count spins. At 6:00 p.m., the dinner shift. Nia clocks in. She ties her apron tighter. She washes her hands longer. According to the soap dispenser usage log, the shift is heavy on hygiene. Maybe there is no log. Maybe it is only in the way the skin of her knuckles looks slightly raw. Someone notices. They do not say it out loud. Marco calls a pre-shift. He says, "We do our jobs. No statements, no fights." He looks at Nia. He says, "You good?" Nia says, "I'm here." He nods. It will have to be enough. As the doors open, table 6 sits 2 deaf patrons with friends. Table 3 is a French couple with a toddler. Table 12 is empty. The host stares at the open spot like it might be a target or an invitation. The restaurant fills. The city does what it does. Eats, whispers, records. Part 7, Choosing Procedure. Nia collects what can be collected. She prints the receipt from table 12 with the itemized purchase. She prints her own handwritten note, offer accepted, with the scribbled non-committal P. She screenshots the teenager's video uploads. She asks the boy, whose mother's number is on the reservation file, for permission to use his footage in any legal matter. The mother says absolutely. She texts a written consent. At 10:15 a.m., the next day, Nia walks into the public library where the legal clinic meets. The room smells like paper and custodial lemon. A whiteboard reads, "Tenants' rights, wage theft, contracts." A woman with tight curls and a blazer 2 sizes bigger than typical corporate says, "I'm Amina." She points at a seat. Start at the beginning. Nia lays the documents out as if they were plates. She speaks the facts the way she does on the floor, clearly with no flourish.